The Vexor's wrath loomed large. Its weapons charging for another strike. Commander Kale Vorix stood on his bridge, fists clenched in fury. How could a dead ship shield itself? He ordered full barrage. All plasma cannons, fire beams of red energy lanced out, tearing through space toward the Aeon Sentinel, but the human ship did not move it. Just raised its shields again, and the blasts vanished like rain on hot stone. Kyle's eyes widened. This is not possible. Our weapons are the strongest in the galaxy. On the Sentinel's bridge, Lisa watched the attack with calm eyes. She had felt the ship absorb the energy and store it like a battery. Tina called out shield integrity. At 98, we can take more. Nora added. The Zenthari are broadcasting panic on their internal channels. They think we are using forbidden tech. Lisa smiled. Maybe we are. She turned to the main console and selected a weapon system labeled Chronoton Lance. The screen showed a targeting reticle locking onto the Vexor's Wrath's starboard wing. What is that? Tina asked. A gift from our ancestors, Lisa said. She pressed the firing stud from the Sentinel's bow. A beam of pale blue light shot out. It did not roar or flash. It moved silent and fast, striking the dreadnoughts. Wing. Nothing happened for a second. Then the metal began to crumble, not from heat or force, but from age. The wing turned gray, then brittle, then dust. It fell apart in slow motion. Scattering into the void. Alarms blared on the Zenthari ship decks. Buckled. Systems failed. Kale stumbled as his ship listed hard to port. What kind of weapon is this? He shouted. One you should have feared long ago. A voice whispered over their comms. It was Lisa on the Sentinel. Nora cheered it. Worked. Tina stared at the readings. The beam aged that section by thousands of years. It did not destroy it. It just let time do the work. Lisa nodded. The silent war was not won by bigger guns, but by smarter ones. The Vexor's Wrath tried to retreat, but its engines sputtered half its power. Gun. Lisa did not chase. She let them see what they had faced, let them carry the story back to their empire. But as the dreadnought limped away, new signals appeared on the scanner. More ships dropping out of warp. Imperial cruisers, at least 6 of them, forming a line between the Sentinel and open space. They are not running. Lisa said. They are calling for help. Nora's face fell. We cannot fight all of them. We do not have to. Lisa said. We just have to remind them why they feared us once. She turned the Sentinel to face the fleet, its hull still scarred but its spirit unbroken. Tina gripped her wrench ready. Nora locked onto their comms, ready to jam, and Lisa placed her hands on the controls, ready to show the galaxy that humanity was not gone, just waiting. The air inside the Aeon Sentinel was cold and still, like the breath of a sleeping giant. Lisa led the way in her pressure suit. Flashlight beam, cutting through the dark. Tina followed close behind, muttering about oxygen levels and structural stress. Nora brought up the rear, scanning for power signatures or traps. The corridors were wide and smooth, with walls that seemed to drink the light. The floor was clean. No dust. No rust. Just smooth metal that hummed faintly under their boots. This place is too quiet. Tina said. It feels like it is watching us. Nora nodded. I am not picking up any life signs, but the ship is not dead. It is just waiting. Lisa stopped at a junction ahead. A large door stood closed, with strange symbols glowing faintly. Blue. They looked human, but older, twisted by time and war. She ran her hand over the symbols and something clicked deep in the wall. A soft chime echoed through the corridor. Then the door slid open with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Inside was the bridge. It was empty, but not abandoned. Consoles lined the walls, their screens dark but clean. A command chair sat in the center, facing a massive viewport that looked out at the Vexor's Wrath, still hovering like a storm cloud. Lisa stepped forward, her boots clicking on the floor as she approached the chair. She could feel it now, a pull in her chest like the ship knew. Nora checked her scanner. The main core is deep in the ship. It is cold but stable. If we can wake it, we might get power. Tina was already at a console, prying open a panel with her knife. Look at this wiring. It is like nothing I have seen, but it is human. Made no alien tech, just pure old Earth engineering. Lisa sat in the command chair. It fit her like it was made for her. She placed her hands on the armrests and felt a faint vibration. Then a voice spoke, not from a speaker but inside her head. Commander recognized. Welcome back. She gasped and stood up fast. "What was that?" Nora asked. "The ship just spoke to me," Lisa said. It knows. Martina frowned. "That is not possible unless it was built to remember." Lisa finished. She turned to her friends. "We have to wake it fully. The Zenthari are not going to wait much longer." They moved fast. Tina worked on the power relays. Nora rerouted comms through the Iron Blossom, and Lisa walked the length of the bridge, touching every console, willing the ship to rise deep in the heart of the Sentinel. The core stirred, ancient systems flickered to life. Lights blinked on one by one. The hum grew louder, stronger. Outside, the Vexor's wrath fired again. This time, not a warning, but a real shot aimed to destroy. The blast hit the Sentinel's hull, but instead of tearing through, a silver shield flared to life, absorbing the energy. And holding firm in the bridge, lights blazed on screens, lit up with data streams, and the voice spoke again. Clear and calm. "Systems online. Threat detected. Preparing defense protocols." Lisa stood tall, her fear gone, replaced by something older, deeper. The will to protect. Tina grinned. "Looks like we woke the right ghost." Nora pointed at the main screen. "The Zenthari are confused. They do not understand what just happened." "Let them be confused," Lisa said. "Because we are not leaving this place as scavengers. We are leaving as warriors." She placed her hand on the firing console and felt the ship's power surge through her veins. The Aeon Sentinel was alive, and it remembered how to fight. The Zenthari fleet spread out like hunters surrounding prey. 6 cruisers with weapons hot and shields high. They had seen what the Aeon Sentinel did to the Vexor's wrath, and they would not make the same mistake. But Lisa was not planning to repeat herself as the enemy ships powered up. She ordered Tina to reroute all non-essential power to the temporal cannons, and had Nora flood their comms with harmonic pulses that disrupted Zenthari neural links. The first cruiser fired a volley of torpedoes. Lisa dodged, not with speed but with timing. She knew when they would launch. Before they did, the Sentinel slid sideways and the torpedoes exploded in empty space. Then she returned fire, not with the chronoton lance but with a gravity pulse that bent space around the second cruiser, crushing its hull like paper. The Zenthari panicked, their formation broken. Ora reported 3 ships are falling back, 2 are charging. Lisa nodded. "They think brute force will win." She let them come. As the 2 cruisers closed in, she activated the Sentinel's oldest weapon, a resonance field that vibrated at the frequency of Zenthari alloy. Their hulls began to shake, then crack, then split apart from the inside. Debris floated in the dark. Tina whistled. That was clean. But Lisa was not celebrating. She felt something else, a deeper memory rising from the ship's core. Images flooded her mind. The silent war. The human colonies burning the last stand at Helios Rift, and the choice they made to hide their greatest ships, not to forget but to preserve. She saw how humans used time, space, and sound as weapons, not to kill needlessly, but to protect what mattered. Nora broke her thoughts. More ships incoming this time. "It is the High Command. They sent the Eternal Dominion." On screen, a massive vessel emerged, blacker than space itself, with towers like spears and a core that glowed with stolen starlight. Vorix appeared on comms, his face bruised but proud. "You have made a grave mistake, human. The Dominion does not negotiate. It erases." Lisa looked at her crew. Tina's hands were steady on the tools. Nora's eyes were focused on the data. "We are not erasing," Lisa said. "We are reminding." She reached into the ship's memory and found the final protocol, the one her grandfather's stories never named but always hinted at. It was not a weapon of destruction but of truth, as the Eternal Dominion charged its main cannon. Lisa activated the resonance pulse, not aimed at the hull but at the ship's systems. The pulse spread like a wave washing over the Dominion. Every non-human system shut down instantly. Life support comms and lights remained, but weapons, engines, and shields went dark. Silence fell across the fleet. Kale stared at his dead controls, then at the Sentinel on his screen. "How," Lisa said simply, "because we never wanted to rule. We only wanted to survive." And in that moment the Zenthari understood humanity was not weak. They were patient. In the cold dark between stars, where no law held power and no signal lasted long, the scavenger ship Iron Blossom drifted like a ghost through broken metal and frozen rock. It was not a warship or a trade vessel. It was a patchwork of old parts, held together by wire and will. Its hull was stained with rust and burn marks. Its engines coughed more than they hummed, but it flew. and that was enough for Lisa. Morgan Lisa was small but tough, with eyes that missed nothing and hands that could fix anything. She wore a faded jumpsuit covered in oil smudges and kept her dark hair tied back in a messy knot. She had grown up on the fringe worlds where you learned fast or died young, and she had learned fast. With her were two others, Tina Lopez, the ship's mechanic, and Nora Bell, the comms expert. Tina was loud and quick, with a wrench always covered in grease and never afraid to curse at a broken part. Nora was quiet and sharp, her fingers dancing over screens as she listened to the whispers of distant ships and stations. They were here near the shattered moon of Keswick 7 because rumors said a rich wreck lay hidden in the debris field, a ship lost during the Silent War. A war so old most thought it was just a story. But Lisa believed. In old stories she had seen too much to doubt them. The Iron Blossom moved slowly, scanning the field with weak sensors. The ship groaned as it turned its nose toward a large shadow buried in ice and twisted metal. Lisa leaned forward, eyes locked. On the screen it was big, too big to be a freighter and too smooth to be natural. Before she could say anything, a deep hum filled space. Then a flash of light split the dark. A massive ship dropped out of warp, its black hull gleaming like polished bone. It was a Zenthari dreadnought, the Vexor's Wrath. The pride of the empire that ruled 100 worlds. Lisa's stomach dropped. She knew what this meant. The Zenthari did not like scavengers in their claimed space, and they did not ask twice. A voice boomed over every channel. It was cold and full of pride. This is Commander Kale Vorix of the Vexor's Wrath. You are in Imperial space in a vessel that should have been scrapped centuries ago. Power down and prepare to be boarded or be erased. Tina cursed under her breath. Nora's hands froze over the console. Lisa did not move. She just watched the dreadnought on the screen. It was huge, 10 times the size of the Iron Blossom, with weapons that could melt planets. But Lisa did not answer. She kept scanning the debris because something about that hidden ship called to her. It felt familiar, like a song she had heard as a child. Kale. Vorix waited 3 seconds, then laughed, a short, sharp sound that carried more insult than any words. You think silence makes you brave, human? Your ship is rust, your weapons are toys, you are nothing. Still Lisa said nothing. She tapped a few keys and the Iron Blossom drifted closer to the wreck. The Zenthari ship followed like a predator, circling prey. Nora whispered, "They are locking weapons." "I know," Lisa said. "But we are not leaving." Tina grabbed her arm. "What are you doing? We cannot fight that thing." "We are not fighting," Lisa said. "We are remembering then." The sensors beeped loud and clear. The wreck was not just any ship. It was the Aeon Sentinel, last of the human warships from the Silent War. The ship that vanished after taking down 3 Imperial fleets and was never seen again. Lisa's heart pounded. She had read about it in old data chips her grandfather kept hidden under the floor of their home. He used to say the Sentinel was waiting for the right hands to wake it. The Vexor's Wrath fired a warning shot, a beam of red plasma that passed just meters from the Iron Blossom, shaking the small ship. With heat and noise, Kyle's voice returned. "One last chance." Human Lisa looked at her crew. Tina's face was tight with fear. Nora's eyes were wide but steady. She took a breath and turned the Iron Blossom toward the wreck. "We are going in," she said, and, as the Zenthari prepared to fire again, the 3 women flew into the dark toward a ghost that might still have teeth. The Eternal Dominion hung in space, powerless but alive, its crew safe, its arrogance shattered. Lisa stood on the bridge of the Aeon Sentinel, watching the massive ship through the viewport. She felt no joy in their defeat, only relief that it was over. Nora reported the entire Zenthari fleet is standing down. They are sending a message to the High Council. Tina leaned against a console, exhausted but smiling. "We did." Lisa nodded, but her mind was already moving forward. This was not the end. It was a beginning. She opened a channel to all ships in range. "This is Lisa Morgan of the Aeon Sentinel. You called us primitives. You laughed at our ships and our place in the stars. But we never forgot who we are." She paused, letting her words travel. "Across the void, we do not seek your worlds or your power. We only ask to be left in peace. But if you come for us again, know this, we are still here and we remember how to fight." Then she cut the channel. The Dominion Kale Vorix sat in silence for a long time before giving the order retreat. One by one, the Zenthari ships turned and jumped to warp, leaving the Sentinel alone in the debris field. Nora let out a breath. I think they got the message. Atina laughed. They will not forget this day. Lisa walked to the viewport and placed her hand on the cool glass. The iron blossom still floated nearby, small and battered but alive. She thought of her grandfather and the stories he told under starlight. She thought of all the humans who hid their strength to keep it safe. Now it was time to show it, not with anger but with pride. She turned to her crew. What do you say we go home? Tina grinned. Home sounds good. Nora nodded, but which home? Elisa smiled. The one we build next. The Aeon Sentinel powered up its engines, not with a roar but with a hum, like a heartbeat, steady and strong. It moved toward the stars, not as a ghost, but as a promise. Behind it, the rusted iron blossom followed like a faithful dog, and ahead the galaxy waited, not in fear but in wonder. For the first time in centuries, humanity was not hiding. They were returning, and no one would laugh again.